Hi, everyone. Nick Chavez here from Chavez Valko, your key to immigration solutions. And here to give you a quick summary on the travel restrictions that were lifted last week, November 8th. You know, it's that busy time right now of the year when everyone is traveling, including international travel. And if you're one of those folks who plan on visiting the United States or maybe planning a trip abroad, there's some important information that you should know about your travel back to the United States. So for the last 20 months or so, we all know that travel was restricted because of this little bugger right here, the COVID pandemic, with the exception of American citizens and green card holders. But for everyone else, if you were traveling to the United States by land, you needed basically an essential reason to enter. It could be medical situation or work, for example. If you were traveling by air internationally, it got a bit more complicated. That is because there was a travel ban for visitors of certain countries, Europe, Asia, and throughout. You couldn't just enter the United States to visit family or friends or go to Disney World, unless, of course, you were an American citizen or a permanent resident, or your visit fell under one of those travel exceptions, what they refer to as a national interest exception. Well, all that is not important now because those restrictions, thankfully, have been lifted. And what you need to know is that there are two different sets of rules depending on whether you decide to travel back in the United States or travel to the United States through the border by land or internationally by air. So let's talk about international travel by air first. So the new travel rules say that if you're a visitor flying to the United States, you will need both the COVID vaccination and a recent negative COVID test prior to boarding the plane. There are a few exceptions to this vaccination requirement, which includes U.S. citizens, lawful permanent residents, children under 18, those with medical issues or some sort of humanitarian purpose. There are a few other exceptions, but they're very narrow. Now, here it's where it gets interesting. If you are vaccinated, you will need to show proof of a negative COVID test taken within 3 days of travel to the United States. If you are unvaccinated, you're still required to present evidence of a negative COVID test taken 1 day of travel to the United States. So if you're vaccinated, you got a 3-day window to get tested versus a 1-day window if you're not vaccinated. It's the government's way of encouraging vaccination, right? Now, as far as testing goes, children under 2 don't have to get tested. That's great. Now, about border crossing. Since March 2020, border crossings, as you know, into the United States from Mexico or Canada were restricted to essential travel. This meant that you could only enter if you belong to any of the essential travel groups, which include U.S. citizens, lawful permanent residents, individuals traveling for medical reasons, including those who are coming to perform essential work and the other exceptions. But now the border has officially reopened to non-essential travel, which means visitors can now come to the United States to visit family or friends or go shopping or come in for a vacation. You don't have to have an essential or urgent reason anymore. But like with international travel, you must show proof of full vaccination against COVID-19, which could be the actual vaccination card or a digital copy of it. And it must be the full vaccination, meaning both shots if the vaccination requires it, like Pfizer and Moderna vaccination. And those with children, don't worry. Just like with international air travel, those children under 18 are exempt from the vaccination requirement if they are traveling with a vaccinated adult. Now, those who are entering for essential reasons or who are U.S. citizens or green card holders may continue to enter without proof of vaccination through the border until, at least we know, January 2020, next year. At that point, there are plans to require that all travelers be fully vaccinated. It doesn't matter if you have an essential reason or not. All travelers will be required to present proof of vaccination upon entering the United States. Right now, it's a little unclear as to whether those exceptions, whether there'll be exceptions for U.S. citizens or lawful permanent residents. I imagine there will be, but those conditions have not been announced yet. So in a nutshell, this is a summarized update on the new travel rules. I have also put some helpful links on the description in case you wanted more details about these new rules. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like what you see, so that way you don't miss any important updates. And don't forget to download our awesome Lawpilot Guardian app to get the latest immigration news on your phone. You'll find that information as well down below. Thank you, everyone. Have an excellent holiday and safe travels.